Here's the way that I figured out how to take a pattern that you've digitally drafted in Affinity Studio and turn it into a printable multi-page PDF without having to manually break up the design across a bunch of pages. Disclaimer, I'm pretty new to Affinity Studio. I'm also new to digital pattern drafting in general. I'm a hobbyist, so somebody may have figured out a much more efficient way to do this. And I definitely encourage you to keep playing around with it. I'm sure you can find a better way or ways to optimize this process. All right, so I'm starting out with my pattern here. This is just a really rough sketch of a bodice block, but let's pretend this was a complete pattern. And I'm going to go and open up a new document. I'm going to enable artboards, change it to inches, and I'm going to change it to 8 by 10. So my paper size that I am printing out here is US letters. So that's usually 8.5 by 11, but I'm keeping it a bit smaller because I don't want the pattern to print all the way to the end of the pages because my printer does not print all the way to the end of the page and it always messes it up. So I'd rather add a little bit of a border and spend a bit more time trimming my patterns than have part of it off the page. But that's totally personal preference what size you print. I'm gonna go ahead and create that document, and you see that there is a artboard that has already been created for us. And I'm gonna rename this artboard to A1. And now I'm going to set up some guidelines on this artboard. So I'm going to go and find my rectangle tool, and I am going to create a rectangle the same size as the paper with no fill, and I'm just going to put a little line around the outside. Now I'm going to create a diamond, and I am going to make the line on this a little smaller. I'm going to move this diamond right up to the center of the top. Duplicate it, center of the bottom, duplicate it, center of the middle, and center over here. So now what we've done is we have a box around the outside. So when I print it out, this will show in the middle of the paper, will be that box. And then I'll have these diamonds for lining it up. So I will put my pattern on top of these and everything will line up. I'm also going to use the text tool, and I created a little pattern making studio here. All of these options are available within the vector studio. So I'll switch to this. I'll label this A1. I find it's nice to create myself a little pattern making workspace so all the tools I need are close at hand, but you can definitely just use the default setup of the space. Okay, now that I've labeled this artboard to A1, I'm going to zoom out. I'm using Control and the scroll wheel to zoom out. And then if I click the scroll wheel, I can move around the screen and navigate that way. I'm going to duplicate this artboard. I'm going to click it. I'm going to drag it. I'm going to lock it in place. And I'm going to do the same thing on the new one. I'm going to duplicate it, click, drag, and lock in place. And I'm going to rename, I got two A1s now. I'm going to delete the extra one. I'm going to name this one A2. And I'm going to name this artboard A3. And I'm also going to go in with my text tool and just update these so that they reflect the naming. You can go out as far as you want with this. This now will give me the width of 3 pages for my printable pattern. So depending on how big your pattern is, you may need more or less pieces. It's also possible to do this as kind of a template for yourself and then have it all set up. So for future patterns, you don't need to do the same thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. Hold Shift to drag it down, lock it in place. Now I have my B1s. So this will be B3. This will be B2. And this will be B1. And I'm going to go ahead again and just update the text here. Now, you could add as many or as few of these as you want, but here is the trick. Instead of pasting our pattern on top of this, we're going to create a new artboard on top of this. So I'm going to go ahead and find the artboard tool, which is, where is the artboard tool? I'm using my pattern making workspace where I have it here. That's right, it's up at the top. I'm going to click on the artboard tool and I'm going to click it and I'm going to drag it to be the exact same size as all of my pages together. So now I have this artboard over top of everything else. And now I'm going to go in. I'm going to click on my pattern. So if maybe you have this grouped, maybe there's a bunch of pieces, doesn't matter. Take all the info from your pattern. I'll put this in a group just to show what that would look like. So this could be a collection of 50 individual pieces and text files, doesn't matter. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to click on Artboard 1. I'm going to paste it in Artboard 1. So my pattern, if I click off on Artboard 1, my pattern is in this Artboard 1 and I can drag it around. Now, maybe my pattern, in this case, it's just an example. This pattern piece is only taking up part of the space. If I had other pattern pieces, I'll just like move this around just for, again, for a demonstration. I can move all of the pattern pieces around however I want, as long as it is within Artboard 1. And there should be, you know, I messed up. I think my rectangles, I accidentally set the stroke width to 0. So let me go ahead and give all the rectangles stroke width. That's my bad. This is a little bit easier to see here. There we go. Just update that right here. Yeah, so now we can see the rectangles and the lines. So these are going to be the 6 different pages in my actual pattern once I print it out. Now I'm going to go to File, Export, Export, and I'm going to export it as a PDF. And you can see here that the pattern is already split across multiple pages. So I'm going to go ahead and export this out. And now you'll see here that the pattern is perfectly set up for printing across all of these different pages. Note that you will have one extra page, and it's going to be a page of the entire artboard. And it's going to be really big at the bottom. So you're going to want to delete this page before you print it out because this one is going to get all messed up, but the rest of it is all in those pages. And it's as simple as that.